Hello, livestock friends, and welcome to this edition of Before the Bid. This is a podcast dedicated to the livestock sales industry where we go behind the scenes of the operation and speak straight to the sellers. We discuss topics about the important aspects of their operation, location, the people behind the prep work, and talk about some of the animals that will be offered to you, the prospective buyers. Hopefully, you've got your sale catalog close by. You might have to go look through that pile on your desk. But if not, then you're probably like me and driving down the road or busy with chores around the farm. And that's okay too. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, I hope you enjoy this segment of Before the Bid. I'm your host, Andy Howell. Welcome, livestock friends, to this edition of Before the Bid podcast. And on this edition of Before the Bid, we go out to Texas and we talk to some guys about a goat sale. And so I have two guys on here with me for this one, and doing another three-way phone call. And we got the boss man and got the guy that likes to talk about these goats. So I'm really excited to do this. Talked with these guys a few times here, and so I'm excited. And I've got a guy that grew up team roping, and he goes out and he rides feeder cattle every day, and he started a commercial sheep feed yard. So we're going to talk to him about that just a little bit, and then we've got a guy that's doing a lot of help around there, and this guy's a Farm Bureau insurance agent right now, and he's been in the goats all of his life, and doing some help with these young people. And so also he's become a pig judge somehow, so we're going to talk with him about that as well. And so I am excited to bring to you the Cross 85 show goats with Keith Stermer and also with Taylor Shearrer. And guys, how are things out in Texas? You guys talking about turning your air conditioner on, right?
Yes, sir. It's a little warm and wet right now.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You guys had a little bit of wet trouble right there, so the rain is probably pretty welcome, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, Keith, Keith, want to welcome you to the podcast and appreciate you hooking up with us here. And Keith, why don't you tell us a little about your background and how you were in the livestock industry and in the team roping and things, and tell us about that, and we'll kind of lead up to where we're at now.
Well, growing up and stuff, we were raised around horses and stuff, and we rodeoed and roped and team roped. We rode a bunch of colts and just trained, and then my family and stuff have an order buying company, and we run a bunch of stocker yearlings and stuff, and don't have a lot of acreage, so we decided to start out with a little small herd of feeder goats and stuff just to try to get something started.
Now, you still ride cattle every day, right?
Yes, sir. We ride yearlings every day.
Are we talking hundreds? We talking thousands?
Take care of about 3,000 yearlings right now.
Now, you guys buying all those and bringing them in then?
Yes, sir. We have an order buying company. We have buyers scattered all over Texas down here, and they bring them in, and we have orders that go everywhere. They go to Panhandle, California, ship cattle out of here everywhere. Trucks come in every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and they process the pens and everything, and we just didn't have nothing big enough to run that much acreage, so we just started the goat deal.
Mm-hmm.
Started feed yard, started out with 30 head, and next thing we realized it growed up. We had anywhere between 800 and 1,000 on feed all the time.
And you're talking goats on that?
Yes, sir.
So you're doing both the cattle and the goats, right?
Yes, sir. Just take care of all the yearlings for my family.
That's a lot of animals you got to go through in a day.
Yes, sir.
Now, is it just goats, or do you guys feed out sheep as well?
We feed goats and sheep.
Okay.
In the feed yard, yes, sir.
Okay.
Right now, we've cut the numbers back quite a bit, but we still have a bunch on feed.
Okay. Now, is it totally different? And I don't know about feeding commercial sheep or commercial goats or anything like that. Is it a totally different outlook and totally different way to feed those sheep and those goats?
No, sir. Like when they all come in, we process them and everything, and we stick them all in the same straighten out. We straighten all the goats and lambs all in one pen, and we alternate them by size.
Okay.
We keep all the little stuff together, and the bigger they get, we move them to a different section.
Right. So you got that many. How many pens do you guys have?
Oh, we probably got like 11 or 12 different sections right now where we keep stuff.
Okay. So all different diets and different things to take care of and keep track of, right?
Yes, sir.
Wow, that's got to be a lot of prep and a lot of figuring on all those, right? Between the cattle and the sheep and the goats.
Yes, sir.
Now, which do you enjoy most?
Oh, messing with the sheep and goats.
Really?
I'd rather get this thing where that's all I did full time and didn't have to saddle a horse and go ride every morning.
Okay. So had just about had enough of that, huh?
Yes, sir. At least I can get out of the wet and cold if I'm at home and not on horseback.
Right, I guess that's right. You can ride through those sheep and goats with a gator or something like that with a lid over you too, right?
Yes, sir.
Chasing on his dirt bike.
Yeah, or my 11-year-old boy on his dirt bike.
Yeah.
That's the way he likes to pin and ride them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, get him calmed down with a dirt bike running around there every day, huh?
Yes, sir. All the show animals are well gentle time he gets through going through the barn.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good for them because when they get out, then shoot, they're ready to go and don't get scared by anything, do they?
No, sir.
Well, Keith, how did you get into showing goats? And then my understanding is it's one of those 4-H projects gone rogue again. We have a lot of that on the podcast, and that's great. But it sounds like that is kind of the way this went. So if you would kind of walk us through that, how'd you get started in showing the goats and now raising and wanting to sell some?
Well, we started the feed yard deal, and my little boy decided he wanted to show, and so we got to pricing some animals and stuff, and we got to thinking, like, man, if we're going to have this many goats and lambs and stuff on feed, why don't we just start buying some does
Mm-hmm.
and get us a few bucks or something and see if we can't raise some of our own and be able to sell a few and help some 4-H kids and then be able to go out and buy him some more animals.
Mm-hmm.
And so we went and got us 20 does and got us a buck, and we eased along there, and next thing we realized we're up to probably 200 mature does now.
Oh, wow. So gone really rogue, right?
Yes, sir.
And so now you're going to offer some of those, and I failed to mention earlier, you're going to offer those on Willoughby Sales on May 25th. You're going to have an online sale. So why, I guess, you've got casing that's showing.
Yes.
Okay. And then so now you've got that many, so now you kind of figure out, you kind of go, well, we got to figure out something to do with those, so you're going to offer those.
Yes, sir.
How long have you guys been offering goats and having goat sales?
I started 3 years ago, and it was kind of just a kind of play around deal. We had some stuff, but nothing really good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Taylor come along and kind of helped us out. And last year we had 2 online sales, and then we private treated quite a few babies, and it kind of changed our game up a little bit. And then this year we decided we'd go out and we started flushing some does, and we flushed, and everything kind of worked pretty good. And we got some pretty good babies, so we decided that we'll see how far we go with this deal.
Well, that's great. Before you had the online sales, what'd you guys do to get those marketed?
Just private treat, just people that I talked to, and just 4-H kids that I knew and that I'd been around, families and stuff that I knew that had shows.
Now Taylor says you have a saying. Speaking of those young people, he says you have a saying when you guys are putting all the things together that you guys put together.
Oh yeah, no, the big thing we kind of try to constantly remind ourselves is, man, it's all about the kids, because sometimes this thing can get out of hand, and man, it can get a little crazy in this industry, and me and Keith do a good job of trying to ground ourselves, to remind ourselves, hey man, at the end of the day, this industry ain't nothing if we're not doing it for the kids.
Keith, you always helped young people even before Kaysen got in and got to showing?
Yes, sir. Before Kaysen come around, I was a president of a rodeo club,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to say I was like the little duck. All the kids were following me around because they knew we were going to get popsicles or we were going to do something fun, because I just take them all under my wing and have fun with all of them.
Uh-huh. Oh, well, that's great.
Yeah, you got to be careful now. We go to these stock shows, and they're still following Keith around, but now he's giving them candy. So man, we always laugh. Keith's always the one hanging out with the kids, man.
Yeah, well, that's great that they can have somebody to look up to and somebody that'll take care of them. Yeah, Keith, do you tell them, when you got them sitting around, do you tell them rodeo stories and things like that?
No, sir. Most of them, I just sit back and listen to what they want to tell me and see how good their stories can get.
Okay. So you started and you've got all the background. Kaysen came in, and so you blew this thing up to 200 does, and you're flushing and AIing and doing a lot of different things like that. What's the future goal for Cross 85 show goats?
Hope we can get some raised to where these kids can come and be able to, get them a good one. Take a chance on, going to a major or something, hang a banner or whatever, where they ain't got to go spend a bunch of money to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Just be able to stand behind them and help them the whole way.
How many are you marketing a year to get out to these young people?
Oh, this year the numbers were down pretty good. We were at about 71% doe kids. So
Oh, wow.
we don't have a whole lot of weathers to put out there, but I feel the quality that we're putting out there this year is pretty good.
So you're going to go from 300 to what, 450 next year or so?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready to go that big yet, but I imagine one day our numbers will get close to that.
Right. Yeah. Well, that'll be good, and it sounds like you got a good guy there to help you.
As long as Kaysen wants to get bigger.
Right. Now, you say Kaysen is 11, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, what's his role other than just riding his dirt bike through all these goats?
He's like the right-hand man.
Okay.
Yes, sir. He can pretty much run the show.
Well, good. So he really has a passion for it then.
Yes, sir.
I guess with the commercial, with the feed yard and things like that, how long have you been doing the sheep and goat feed yard?
Started feeding them about 9 years ago.
Okay. Okay, so he was just real young, so he's kind of grown up in that, and so now he just kind of takes over and kind of knows what's going on, right?
Yes, sir. You can give him a bottle of medicine, and he can take care of it himself.
All right. So Keith, I've been talking to this Taylor guy for quite a while and a couple times here, and you guys have some events that you guys have started and doing, and Taylor's going to talk about those a little bit. But Keith, how'd you get hooked up with Taylor?
Well, we were at a jackpot show our second year in Waco. We really didn't have an idea. I mean, we were just feeding. We were asking questions, just trying to get better, and everybody told me that Kaysen had the right idea. He was doing good. And I was talking to some friends, and they said, well, why don't we talk to Taylor? See if Taylor mind helping you. And I said, well, I don't know who Taylor is. And they introduced us to Taylor, and we kind of hung out and talked that night. And then I think it was the following week he come by, and from then on we just took off with the deal.
Somebody that has quite a bit of knowledge and grew up in it, and now he can help Kaysen and help you guys market things and breed some things as well, right?
Yes, sir.
Were you a little nervous about bringing somebody like Taylor in and kind of giving him some of those reins?
No, sir. I mean, I've been around enough people and stuff, and I've dealt with enough people, and I mean, I can read enough to know that whether he had the knowledge or not, to trust him.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever he was good with my boy and he took him in, I knew we were all right.
Right. Keith, there's somebody else we ought to mention that you talked about that keeps you guys in line and keeps everything in line around there and does all the paperwork. And so I guess I want to give you a minute there to introduce her.
John Canoa.
Ball is what we call her.
Yeah, it's John Canoa. He's pretty much the head honcho of running the whole show. She takes care of all the paperwork in the building and keeps us all lined out and straight. That way we kind of know where we're going. We don't get in a bind.
Mm-hmm.
Edit, and take care of all of mine and Taylor's paperwork, so we don't look so crazy.
Well, that's always great that you can have somebody back there. They're doing that, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, that's awesome.
And if we didn't have her, trust me, our Facebook post might make any sense. Yeah, you got to have that editor on the Facebook post, especially with me, man. So every now and then I'll slip a word up and I'll get a text message. She's like, "Is that what you meant?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad."
I just tell them I'm the labor hand of this operation.
Right. Keith, you guys, and we can kind of let bring Taylor in here as well. You guys have a clinic. And then you started a show for some of these young people, continuing your passion for helping these young people. My understanding is you said, hey, let's put something together for these guys that bought our goats, or maybe some of them that didn't even buy goats from us, to help them with different things about showing goats. and so you guys run with that as well. So would you tell them a little bit better as to why you started that?
Oh, just the industry out there would help for these little kids. These kids you see every day at the shows and stuff. Some of them are afraid to ask and stuff, and so me and Taylor got talking, and we thought, you know what, let's do something for our clients that want to have help and stuff. We'll do, have a little clinic, and then we'll have a show and stuff. And then we got to thinking, let's just open the doors, because then it may bring more customers in that appreciate the help. And so we just the first year, we just kind of opened it up, and pretty sure we took like 30 kids all together to the clinic. And I mean, it was good. We had fun. And next year we kind of upped the numbers, and now this year, I mean, we're going to take 40 lamb kids and 40 goat kids, and it fills up pretty fast. I mean, we have fun, and they get a lot out of it.
And my understanding is this show is just going beyond your wildest dreams as to how many, right?
Yes, sir.
About how many sheep and goats you guys going to have at this deal?
We'll take 40 goat kids and 40 lamb kids this year. We'll take 80 students all together.
Okay. And that's for the clinic, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. About how many were at the show last year that you guys had?
A lot. We had like, I want to say almost, it was crazy on the sheep side. The sheep were, I think, way over 100, almost 200, and then the goats were up there as well. Not quite 100, but I mean the goats were, for a goat show, they were up there as well. So this year after the success of last year and what everybody told us, hey, thanks, and that was a great job. I mean, we can only expect hopefully the good Lord blesses us, and this year is even better.
And now you guys have started getting some sponsors and different things like that for this clinic and for the show.
Yes, yeah, we've got a lot of we honestly have just had a lot of support coming at it. And companies all over the country. That's kind of been the cool part. Is we've got people from all parts of the industry. Either they're producers or medicine or show feed or the grooming products. Man, it's been really cool to see the amount of support and sponsorship we've been able to already bring in for this year's show and clinic.
Now podcast as well, right?
yeah, and then we got this awesome podcast, man. I'm telling you, I love it.
Well, that's great, and we're happy to do that, and I think it's going to be a great thing for both of us. So, Taylor, speaking and staying on the clinic side of this thing, what do you do for this clinic, and how does it go, and what's it all about? And I guess when is it as well?
Right. So it is going to be 1st and 22nd of August. And like Keith said, when we first started, man, it was super small. And it started with the idea of, hey, let's help these people locally. Then we opened it up. And I think we said if we got 25 people, we called it a success. And we ended up with a little over 30. And that first year, I taught the whole entire, I guess, classroom section, if that's what you want to call it, on the goat side of it, feeding, nutrition, and facilities, and preparation, and health, and wellness, and all that type of stuff. And then we got some kids to come in locally and help us with the hands-on training, and my sister and mom came down, and then we did the showmanship side of it. And then the next year we were said, hey, let's get some more help involved. And so last year we brought in like, I want to say like 7 or 8 goat kids who were highly successful, and then 7 or 8 sheep kids who were highly successful, and broke into small groups. And then again, I did some classroom teaching, but the way it's growing and the direction we're headed in this year is going to be, I think, even better. And the reason I say that is I'm a big believer of iron sharpens iron, right? And so if you're going to really make these kids the best, and these families really, because we don't just market this thing to just the kids. I mean, we do a lot of sessions with parents as well, and ag teachers and county extension agents. And so I'm a big believer, if you're going to bring all that in, then you need to bring in the best of the best at every category. And so this year I'm almost taking more of a management role, step back, and we've been working really hard to get people locked in the industry who are the who are what we consider to be the best of the best at all aspects. So we've got a vet coming in who's worked with show stock for a long time. He's going to come in and teach just the health part. And then we've got a Zach Howell coming in, and Zach is no newcomer when it comes to fitting and prep and how to to get the hair and the hide right. And so he's coming in and he's going to be doing clipping and fitting demonstrations. And then we've got some guys that we're trying to get locked in right now on the feeding and nutrition side who are absolutely basically at the top of the game right now when you think about sheep and goats. And so essentially we're going to be bringing in some specialized people so that like I said, we can really take this thing to the next level.
And we're moving it to air conditioning this year.
Yeah.
That'll be a plus, right?
Yeah, man. We sent out a little questionnaire before we got started to all the people who came last year, and one of the questions was, "Hey, what did you not like about last year's clinic?" Everybody's response: "It was hot."
Right. Texas into August. I can't imagine.
Oh yeah, so we're fixing the one problem. It's going to be at the Bell County Expo Center in Belton this year.
Okay.
Anyone's been there, man? That is that's about as top of the line facility as you're going to get. And then, yes, the glorious thing is it will be all in AC.
Awesome. How do they get chosen to be able to come into this clinic?
So it's a first come, first serve basis. They need to get with the boss lady, get with Miss Jonica. She's got a form that they can fill out with all the information, and then she'll be able to collect payment. And man, once we've got your form and payment, then you're on the list. And once that list fills up, Mm-hmm. So, but we do have a good way to get that information. If you go to Cross 85's Facebook page, then under the events tab, we do have the 2021 Clinic and Show event. It's already been created with all of the kind of steps and information on how to get signed up. But if somebody doesn't have access to Facebook, just reach out to any of us. Keith or myself or Jonica, or we do have a Gmail, which is cross85 at gmail.com, if I remember that correctly. Hope I'm not saying that one wrong.
AOL.com.
But they should be able to, or AOL, so cross85 showgoats at AOL.com. If they send an email to that, Miss Jonica can get them hooked up as well.
Okay, neat deal. And then you guys have a show the next day, is that correct? So will that be on the 23rd?
22nd.
22nd.
Oh, it'll be on the 20th. Okay, on the second
yes,
day.
Sir.
Okay, the clinic is the 21st and the show is the 22nd.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And the show's open to the world?
Yep. Come all. Come anybody, come all. It will be a 2-ring show. So the ring A is prizes, and man, we have already got some killer prizes lined up. Last year, we gave away ice chests and duffel bags and hanging bags, and then we get a lot of awesome product. Industry people in the industry who give us products so that we can give those as prizes as well. And then ring B, one of the big things that Keith's a huge believer in is if you're going to call it a jackpot show, then it needs to be a jackpot show. The ring B is a very lucrative jackpot show.
And so you run one right after the other one, probably.
Essentially, we got 2 judges. Ring A for sheep and goats run at the same time, and at the conclusion of them, our judges switch rings, and then we'll run ring B.
Neat deal. That sounds like a great couple days that these young people can get down there and learn a little bit, and then show, or just come to the show, or just come to the clinic as well.
Yes, sir.
Excited for you guys about that, and man, I'd like to come down there and see that. So Taylor Shearrer came in here a bit, and Taylor, why don't you tell us just a little bit about your background and why the goats, and what's your kind of background in the show goats?
My mom was an ag teacher. My mom was an ag teacher for 25 years, and so, man, I always used to laugh. I've been to more state FFA conventions than most kids get to go in their 4-year high school career.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, my mom's dad, my grandfather, he raised goats. So early on, when they were first bringing the boar goat over from South Africa, very early on, my grandfather bought some, and he was raising them. And so, man, my first entry to it when I was really little, he gave me two bottle babies, and I raised those as my own, and that kind of, lit that fire and that passion. And so it was only fitting that as soon as I was old enough to show, man, I showed goats. And so we showed goats for a long time. And then I have a sister who's 4 years younger than me. And I guess the only problem with being the firstborn is that we learned all the mistakes on my career. And so my sister got to come in 4 years later and absolutely have about as good of a career as it can really have.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of, we showed for a long time, and I had some success, thankfully. And then it was really cool. I went off to school to Texas A&M, and I was actually working for the Beef Cattle Center at A&M, and it was getting to be Christmas break. And my senior year, we'd bought a goat from Larry Jackson at Lacopa Show Goats, and he knew I was there, and that ranch real close to College Station. He called me up and said, "Hey, what are you doing for Christmas break?" And I was like, "Well, I guess I'm just going to work out here with these cattle. I don't know." And he goes, "Well, how about you come over here and help my kids?" And man, that turned into me spending every summer and every holiday and a whole lot of weekends and getting to work out there at Lacopa and getting to learn a whole heck of a lot. You get to learn a lot about how to raise a goat when you're running almost 1,500 head.
Right.
And so we got to learn a lot, and that was a cool opportunity. And man, when I graduated, I thought I wanted to be a goat farmer the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I actually went out there and took over as ranch manager for Lacopa, and I did that for a little while, and then I basically woke up one day, was like, man, I think I want to go do something else.
Uh-huh.
And so that's how I ended up at Farm Bureau now. But that's kind of my deal in it. And I just, man, when I quit Lacopa and I went to Farm Bureau, I didn't want to stop helping kids. And so I really haven't. And I've been blessed to get to help a lot of kids. I've helped a lot of kids basically ever since I graduated high school.
Mm-hmm. So you've done a little bit of buying and selling and then helping those young people.
Yeah, a little bit on that end of it. Obviously helping when I was at Lacopa.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I was helping the Jackson family sell those goats. But for the most part, to be honest with you, I've never been as big of a fan from that aspect of it as it has been working with kids, with showmanship, working with families on building a program. My big thing's always been, man, you got to be goal-oriented. So whatever you're going to do in the stock show industry, have a goal and do the best thing, do everything you can to reach that goal. And so that's where more of my passion is. And that's where it's been so amazing to get to meet Keith and then just to be lucky enough that his family's allowed me to have just a small part in this program, to get to help their clients and help their boy Kaysen and just to be a part of it, man. That's for me, it's where it's at. I just like helping people, and that's my whole big passion. I guess I get that probably from my mom and all of her years of being an ag teacher.
Right. Now Keith says he's just kind of the farmhand. So does that mean you kind of make some of the decisions then, a lot of the breeding decisions and things?
Yeah. So Keith always likes to say he's a farmhand, but I always like to tell people, a farmhand with a whole lot of opinions. So, no, for the most part, it's kind of cool. Over the years now, Keith's really become one of my better friends, and we talk on a daily basis. And man, it's one of those deals from years of just being in this industry and working it. Man, Keith will call me with a question, and I do my best to try to answer it and put him in the right direction. I guess I hope, or at least I hope I am. But yeah, we'll talk a lot. We talk a lot about the genetics and where they're headed and what he's got, and we like to look at just the small batch of goats Keith has raised. Man, we'll talk all the time about how we think they're progressing and what does do we think he's got and how can we pair those things up. And so, man, I try to help as best I can, navigate the waters that are the weather genetics. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of where I try my best to help them.
Okay. Well, while we're on that, we got to get to this pig judging thing. I want that. I want to get that story out there a little bit. But while we're on the genetic side, you guys have got a couple bucks that you've got these weathers out of for this sale. If you would talk just a bit about those bucks and why you used them and matched them up with these does.
Yeah. So one of the big ones that I would say that's really progressed the program forward is going to be Yellow Magic. And that buck's an instant impact. and his mama's an animal granddaughter, and so that instant impact's going to go back to Cade. And anybody who's been a part of the weather genetics for any period of time is going to know animal and everything, and kind of on that one. But that buck was one that really kind of came in and bred him real heavy last year. And man, does he produce some wethers that absolutely have impeccable rib shape and just really good muscle patterns. And we've kept and retained a lot of those does. Keith was laughing about the 71% doe kid, but I'll tell you, it excites me because I think the yearling does that we're going to breed this year for next year's kid crop, man, talk about hybrid vigor. I think they're going to do something crazy, just because those yellow magic kids, they're so powerful and they bring such a great muscle pattern to the table. And so we learned from last year, and we said, okay, man, if that's what he brings to the table, then let's bring him to some of the coolest, most attractive does that we can. And I think that lot one really shows that to you. I think that one is a real testament to the work that we've done at trying to pair that buck. And then, you know, another buck that's really, really cool because he's one that that Keith actually raised out there at the ranch, and we've really got to watch that buck progress is our outer range buck, and he's going to be out of Outer Reach, which is a buck that Keith bought from 5-star Boar Goat Sterling Scott, and Keith kind of brought him in. Keith, 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Yeah, and man, he did what he was meant for, right? I mean, he came in and he really started shifting everything in that show direction. You can have a goat, and man, it's so funny to me because we'll go over here and you can watch some ABGA breeding goat shows, and you go, man, those things are not going to make great wethers. There's just something about the actual weather genetics. You've got to have that look, and you've got to have that eye appeal. They got to be able to hit their ring and look like show goats. And, man, that's what Outer Reach did. He really helped the herd start heading in that direction. And, I always used to laugh on those great ones, man, is a great one's great the day they're born. They hit the ground, and they just look like $1 million. And that's Outer Range. Man, Outer Range, when he was born, there was no questions. Nobody had to talk about it. Case and Keith and me all were like, oh, that's a buck right there. We're keeping that one. And, man, he's just really thrown some really unique animals this year. When he was judging last year, he kept calling them unique creatures. Well, man, I think the good ones out of Outer Range can flat be called unique creatures. And so we're excited about what he's doing. And then we've got another buck. None of them in this sale are coming up, but definitely people need to be on the lookout for kind of the pairing or the partner to Outer Range is going to be Out of Pocket. He's another Outer Reach son that we kept from last year, and I think he is bringing some really, really special ones. We didn't breed him as heavy as Outer Range, but definitely be on the lookout for those kids as they come up in the coming sales that we have, as well as be on the lookout for what he does next year with some of these yearling does. I think that's going to be really cool. And then the other buck that they'll see on the sale is going to be the Wolfie. That's a buck that we AI'd to, and he's owned by Apex, but he's going to be a safe word son. And again, anybody who's been around the show goat industry long enough, that they should be well versed on who safe word is. So it was cool to get to use a little bit of piece of those genetics as well.
Well, Taylor, tell me, we were talking the other night, and you were talking about how you've grown up in the goats, and you know the goats, and you've worked the goats, and you've done the goats, and now you're judging pigs.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I think I've gone and listened to every pig podcast you have because for some wild, weird reason that I still don't understand. For some reason, people keep asking me, and I'll judge anywhere from like 4 to 5 pig shows a year. I got called the other day from somebody who was like, hey, just letting you know, we turned in your name to be our county pig judge. And I was like, I don't do pigs. I'm a goat guy. But it's fun, I still volunteer as the 4-H livestock judging coach. And so I always tell the kids all the time, it doesn't matter what your species is. You should be able to judge all of them. Right. So I guess that's a testament to that.
Right. And so doing 4 to 5 a year, and that's cool.
Yeah. I guess it's a weird deal some days, but I like it. It's fun.
That's neat, and bring it over into the goats as well. Just knowing good livestock.
Man, that's the thing. And I guess, you were asking Keith what the goal is. I guess as Keith's buddy and his friend, he's kind of walking this path with him. I guess that's for me is I just look at it as, it's going to be awesome one day. Just Cross 85's got 8 out there that are just that everybody can just call unique creatures or just good livestock. And I won't lie, I really think this sale that we're going to put out on the 25th, I think it gets darn close. I ain't gonna lie. I think there's some in there that are just flat good ones, man, that can work just about anywhere.
Well, let's get into those here. Again, the sale is on May 25th. It's on Willoughby Sales, so they can go to Willoughby and as we're recording, you guys have already got that posted. Got some things posted, and so you've got some more to put on there, and they can go to that after they've watched the podcast video with all the pictures and videos and all that on there. They can go to the Willoughby site and look at those on there as well. Taylor, why don't we just go down those goats and why don't we talk about those just a bit and tell us what your thoughts are, and we'll just get people excited about these goats. I looked at them today there on Willoughby, and man, you guys got quite a set of goats.
Yeah, I think they're a heck of a set. The one we lead off with, I think, is when you want to talk about combination. You want to talk about a goat that has really all the pieces and very little flaws. Man, that's going to be our leadoff goat. So that's going to be 13-712B. It's going to be a Yellow Magic son, and then his mama is going to be an Evans Willard daughter. And man, I think the thing on that one is if you like them big ribbed and huge hipped and just really good muscle, that's this guy. I think he's cracked open from end to end. I think this one's going to grow extremely well. Sometimes we talk about goats, hey, you might have to lean on the feed bucket a bit harder. Well, man, you ain't going to have to on this one. He's going to put in some work for you. Mm-hmm. He's just a stout constructed one, but with that being said, I still find him extremely elegant from the side. Man, this dude wedges extremely well in the front 1/4 of his body. His neck sits on top of his shoulder. He's still really shallow in his heart and holds an extremely good underline. And so I think that one will be real cool. Like I told you, I think there's some in here that can kind of work anywhere. Man, I think that if you feed this guy correctly, that guy really could. He could work at a lot of places. And like I said, I wouldn't lean on him extremely hard. I wouldn't try to make him be a heavyweight. I think if you could shoot to be, top side of Division 2 to maybe midway up through Division 3 at most of these Texas majors, that'd be a real salty place for him to be. Mm-hmm. But I think that's a killer one to go ahead and lead the sell off with.
Mm-hmm. And you come to a Wolfie there on the lot too.
Yeah, so this is a real unique one, man. And so where our industry, if you watch our industry, the goats move faster than any species out there.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. But we're young, right? In the grand scheme of it, goats are still young. And so I would say right now our industry is starting to swing back towards athletic. That's the word that you keep hearing these judges use a lot. We want them to be athletic, run uphill, flat back. We want them to have that look and eye appeal. Man, that Wolfie kid, killer profile shot. If you want one to run uphill like a sheep, that dude runs uphill like a sheep, and his breastplate is just shoved up into his body cavity. That dude's about as clean chested. I would tell anybody who wants to look at one, go look at this dude's chest view, because it is really, really fun to look at. But he's not lacking any power. So power is not lacking. I threw in on that sale. One of the pictures I threw in there is the top view of that animal. So that is if you're looking up over the top side of that weather, you get to see it. And there's no doubt that dude is not missing any power across the backside. Now, do I think he's as bloomy or as fat as some of these other goats? No, I don't. But I think that one, if you want an athlete, that's awfully athletic. And to go with that term, I'll tell you that his video, once we get it posted, is not going to be as long as the rest of them, because that dude can clear the fence in the picture. So if somebody wants an athlete, there you go.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, a little tough. You gotta have big fences even for goats, right?
I'm telling you, we're gonna have to start making our picture pin high. Something.
Yeah. You sent me a video today of this lot 3, and boy, he's pretty good.
Man, everyone always likes to ask, right? Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? Which one's your favorite? And I always like to try to tell people, well, I'm not judging the major show, so always keep in mind, try to buy the one that fits the judge. But if I was judging, this is him, and I think that one right there, that one's a unique creature, and that one's awfully good at a lot of angles. And when I was learning, I guess my first year when I was working at La Copa, we had a guy come in, and he was actually doing most of all the clipping and picturing for us, and it was cool, right? Because, man, I'm 19 and I'm fresh out of high school. I want to learn all this stuff, and he was teaching me how to clip and picture and everything. And he used to have this saying he used to tell me. He used to say, man, the great ones are hard to picture. And I was like, why? And he goes, because a two-dimensional photo can't capture what a three-dimensional animal looks like. Right. And I think that's why I sent you that video, because these pictures don't do this goat justice. I would highly advise everybody to go watch this guy's video, because this one's just good. I could break them apart and tell you all the pieces, but at the end of the day, that one's just flat good.
Mm-hmm. And I like the video. He looks really, really good. We go back to a Wolfie.
So we bring in this lot 4, and he's gonna and he's a full brother to the lot 2. I'll tell you, in comparison to him and his brother in lot 2, he's probably a little larger framed. He's probably a little taller from the ground to the point of his shoulder. Probably offers a hair more extension. Where I would say the lot 2 is probably a bit bolder. Maybe a little more cracked open in his skeleton in comparison to his brother. But again, one that is super trendy, one that is really cool from the side, paints the silhouette that we see all these champions in the backdrops with. Just a real athletic style one, just probably just a little bit larger frame. He would be one, we talked about it being opposite on the lot 1. This is probably one that needs to get real fat. We need to get this one real fat real early and then get him shut down. Mm-hmm. I think if you could get him real fat real early, really put that pounds of product on him early, and then just shut him down and really try to hold him again at that top of that Division 2 style. If you can kind of hit him high 80s, maybe all the way up to a 92-ish, come Houston, that one's going to be a really cool rig. Because one thing's for sure, he's going to have the design, and he's going to have that athletic build that these Wolfies seem to have.
Mm-hmm. I got called out on this next one because I was going down through these, and I told Taylor, I said, hey, I kind of like this lot 5, and he called me out for being a cattle guy real quick.
Yeah, but with that being said, man, if Grinder's judging somewhere, if we're ever lucky enough to get old Brandon Callis back, I think that one could win the whole dang show with a guy like that. But nonetheless, man, someone's, and I'm going to have it in my write-up, and I told it to you today too, someone's going to have a whole lot of fun with this one. This guy's a lightweight, so everybody always comes out, and I've heard it, man, for years in this goat deal. Everyone's like, oh, I'm going to buy him young, and I'm going to buy him young because I want a lightweight. And I'm always like, that's not how it works. Because Kaysen's a great example. We showed, I think, like a February-March born last year at San Antonio, and we had a lot of people tell us y'all were probably 3rd overall in that lightweight division. So age has nothing to do with it. It's style. It's you got to be able to look at that goat when it's a baby and read that cannon bone and say, hey, this is going to be a true lightweight. Well, that's this guy, and this guy, in the words of everybody's favorite cattle judge, he's got the boots with the fur, right? I mean, that's this guy. This is a fluffy made, great hair, just awesome hair. He was fun to clip, but he's got all the goods. Don't get it twisted. This dude is super bold in his rib shape. He is really opened up on both ends of his skeleton. And I'll tell you, that little goat handles were probably one of the best tops against any of these big bruisers that we got in here. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said, man, somebody's going to have a whole lot of fun if they want them a really cool lightweight. All I'm going to ask on that is please don't feed him to be a heavyweight, because then I don't think he'll fit the bill just as good.
So I know how to pick him.
Yeah. So man, I'm telling you, if you got a kid who wanting to go play in that lightweight game, that should go, man.
Got another outer range in the lot 6.
Yeah, so this is kind of a funny one. At first, he was kind of a last call deal. We didn't know, wasn't sure, and man, I'll tell you, it is so hard to read goats when they're in a whole lot of hair because goats can get real fluffy and that hair gets real nappy and it's nasty. And man, you can flat look at one that underneath the hair is really good, but in the hair you'll think, man, that was a little flat sided, or maybe that one's not as good. When we were looking in them, and I was like, man, that goat picture will be good. And next thing you know, we start clipping on this dude. Man, that is a sleeper. That is a surprise. I think, no, again, I'm not going to stand here and tell somebody that dude's got the same body condition or body score as Lot 1, because he doesn't. And I'm not going to stand here and tell somebody that. But that dude, if you will take him and evaluate him as an individual, and start looking at what he brings to the table. That dude's go look at his chest view, and that dude is opened up. He's shoved up in his breastplate. Then we turn him to the side, and man, that dude's got some run uphill. His neck sits on his shoulder. His shoulder's nice and smooth. He wedges. All his angulations are correct. And then I took the shot of right over the top side, and we're not hiding anything there. That dude's got some boldness of rib. He's got some shape up top. So, yeah, he's a little green, but man, I think that one, everyone's always asking, where's the sleeper? Well, I think Lot 6 is a sleeper.
Always got to have those, and always fun to bring those home and just watch them come on, right?
Man, I think if someone gets that one and really puts in the TLC and hits that feed bucket correctly, I think in about 6 months they are going to be happy.
Mm-hmm. Now we've got a little bit older weather here in the Lot 7, the Yellow Magic.
Yeah, so we got our Lot 7 goat, and man, this was one that we did some private treaty when we were selling the older set this year, but we still like to clean them up. We like to picture them. That's normally the best way to get people in this busy world. People kind of want to see them before they're willing to drive, and so we tried to picture everything up, and we'd clip this dude, and he just wasn't ready. He just was a little too green, and I didn't think he was quite ready. And so we held him, and we've been feeding on him. And man, there's no doubt, whoever's looking at this one, I think I put it on there too. He's probably about 60 pounds. He's definitely not little. But if someone's still looking for a really good early county goat to go win a county show, or they want to go, this with their first times, maybe it's State Fair. They kind of decided last minute, hey, do we want to go to State Fair of Texas or not? Man, we still got one, and we got a good one. He's not bad. He's big ribbed and big ended, and he's got some stout features about him. And hey, he's already, now he's 4 months old now. So hey, we've already got you through the hardest part of the growth spurt, so you'd be good to go.
And usually everybody kind of leaves, we kind of got this one left, so we're going to put it as the last lot in the sale and do that. But I don't think that's quite the case here.
No, that's not quite the case. And right, wrong, on different, this is kind of how we like to put ourselves together. That one that we're going to end with, we saved the best for last on that. Mm-hmm. That one's cool.
We're talking the Lot 8.
If you're wanting to go play with the big boys and you want to go be in some of these heavier weights or the top of that Division 3, man, this dude. And this dude's skeleton, he's got an extra vertebrae, I swear, in him, because that dude is long-sided and just elephant-footed. And that one came from, we were sitting there clipping, and our old buddy was helping us clip, and he kept going, man, when you do your write-up, you got to call this one elephant-footed, because he is massive. He's massive-footed and fuzzy-legged and just real long-bodied and huge hip. That dude's pin set is wider than my hand is at just the young age of what he is. I mean, this dude's barely 45 days old and 45 to 60 days old, and this dude's pin set's wider than my hand. I mean, he's definitely a cool one. The thing that I would say, and the thing that I'd like to add, since we do get this cool opportunity on the podcast to talk about him, I would say he is going to need an exercise program. I definitely don't want to hide that. Mm-hmm. I would not say, hey, if you just want one that you're going to throw feed in a bucket and just let him grow, that's not this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, he is going to be bigger. I think he is way good. But he needs to be fed. He's going to need to be exercised a bit more than some of the other ones. But if you're willing to put into work, I think this one's going to absolutely reward you in the end.
Well, good. That's why one of the reasons I started the podcast was so that you guys could tell what you really think, and you don't have to write a 3-page write-up on it
Right.
and do that kind of thing. So I think
That
that's
nobody
really
reads.
awesome. Right. I think that's really awesome that you say that and you're honest about that. And guys, I think that just kind of tells you what you're getting when you go to Cross 85 Show Goats with Keith and Taylor and those guys. And you know, they're here to help with the clinic. They're here to give you guys a place to show with the show the next day and kind of tell you what they really think about them. And so Taylor, I really appreciate you doing that and talking about those things on these goats. So.
And the other side of it too, I mean, you know, this industry is full of a lot of people, and I don't mean it rudely. That I don't mean it badly. I just mean, you know, there's a lot. You know, you always hear the stories about people buying animals and then they never hear again from the breeder. Well, man, please know that that's not us. We strive. I mean, customer service. I mean, my background, even right now, is still Farm Bureau, and that's their slogan: is be the best customer service. And so that's even this deal, and that's one of those deals. You know, when we were talking on the phone for a couple of years, I was still trying to do a consulting business, I guess, and we were helping families with projects and stuff. And man, I've really backed off of that so that honestly, I can be here to do that for Keith and Cross 85. And so I hope people know that that's really the deal. If you buy a goat from Keith, man, know that it's a package deal. I'm here to answer any questions and help in any way, and so is Keith. I mean, Keith may be a little quiet sometimes, but don't let him fool you. That he's really good at feeding these sheep and goats as well.
Yeah, Keith, you agree with that?
Oh, I try my best.
Yeah. Well, again, guys, the sale on Willoughby Sales, May 25th, and Cross 85 out of Texas. They can find Cross 85 on Facebook. Taylor, you've got your own Facebook. How else can they find you guys?
Shoot, drive on down, man. We're always willing to see people, talk to people in person. That's the best way.
And where are you guys located? Texas, but where?
We're in Burlington, Texas.
Okay.
They're more used to like Temple, Texas, and we're east of there about 15 miles.
Well, good deal. Yeah, they can come down. They can see these goats before the sale. If they need to, you can get them any more information that they might want. They just gotta call one of you guys, right?
You got it.
That's awesome. As I said, look through these goats. I'm not a huge goat guy, but from what I know, they really look good. And Taylor, I appreciate you taking time and talking about those. And Keith, appreciate you jumping on here and giving us your background. And sounds like you're a pretty busy guy running through all that. And so I guess my opinion, it sure sounds like from here you did the right thing by getting Taylor on the team.
Yes, sir.
So, well, and again, appreciate you guys. And if you're listening to the podcast, why, go watch the podcast video. It's on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. These guys will put it on their Facebook as well. And so go watch those. And again, go to Willoughby Sales. May 25th is their sale. And so, guys, I appreciate it very much. Appreciate you jumping on here with us and talking with us tonight about these goats and the operation. And want to wish you luck on the clinic and the show as well.
Well, thank you.
So, guys, appreciate it. Again, Willoughby Sales, May 25th. And we want to thank you guys for listening to another edition of Before the Bid podcast. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of Before the Bid. For more information and to learn more about upcoming podcasts and sales, visit us at beforethebid.podbean.com or Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram pages. For information on being a guest on Before the Bid, please email us at beforethebid@gmail.com or one of our social media pages. Remember, that's beforethebid@gmail.com. Happy sales to you, and we will talk to you next time on Before the Bid.